Hello, I'm Ed Freeman. I've been doing data science since the mid 90s. Now, the term got coined about a decade after that, which is really the point of this channel. Our field has had a lot of different names: data science, data mining, knowledge discovery in databases. The names change, but the principles for doing successful projects don't. I've been exploring the relationship between design fields and data science fields. Today, I want to look at specifically something out of the UK Design Council called the Double Diamond and how we can apply it to our data science projects. The Double Diamond is a project template from the Design Council, and it's four phases: discover, define, develop, deliver. You discover, you expand your horizons, you define down to a solution, develop, develop your solution with multiple approaches, and then choose the best approach to deliver. Going more into these particular phases, well, expansive, discover. We identify all the aspects of the problem. Define. From the possibilities, we contract down to our solution. Develop. We expand out and identify different ways of solving a problem. Then we contract down to the best way to deliver it. I want to talk about each stage now and talk about conceptual tools at each stage, both design conceptual tools that can be applied for data science and data science specific conceptual tools that can be used. The discover phase. Design has a couple of big conceptual tools here. Futures workshop. What do we think the future will look like once we do the thing? And storyboarding. What is storyboarding doesn't make a lot of sense if I just think about data science as a model. If I think about it as an application that's driven by a model, it makes a lot more sense. Let's talk about something like Mid-Journey, but say specifically for RPG characters. There'll be a lot of specialization there. And we'll want to have a whole sequence of things that can have all the stages that we want somebody to be able to do to make their character. That's a storyboard, how they interact. But at the core, it's going to be a very sophisticated data science model to actually generate the image. Now, with the data science conceptual toolkit here, we'll have data exploration. What is the data like, really like? What are our hypotheses about the data? How can we test those hypotheses, not A/B testing, but directly looking at the data? And lastly, an opportunity calculation. Is this actually a thing worth pursuing? Once you've expanded out to the discover stage, we want to shrink down in the define stage. For design, there are a couple of conceptual tools here in the define stage. User personas. This is design what makes design famous is user personas. That's really their tool. And for our application of building character portraits for RPG games, role-playing games, we can have a lot of different user personas of the different users that we want to be able to use our work. And this could inform what we want to be able to do with it and how to evolve it. For instance, we might care a lot about users that want to be multiracial characters. We want to have good racial representation here. There's another conceptual tool at this point called thinking hats. 6 of them: the white factual hat, green creative hat, black critical hat, yellow optimist hat, red hat for the heart, intuition, and blue coordinator's hat. The factual hat is around what do we actually have available? Very, very concrete. The green creative hat is about forget about actual, what can we dream of? Black, the critical hat, is about what can possibly go wrong. Yellow, the optimist hat, is for what can be right. Red, The hat for the heart, intuition. I want to concentrate about this because um, in data science, this does not make a lot of sense, but I think we need to make it make sense. For instance, let's take our application of building basically mid-journey specific for RPG characters. There's been a real issue about artists having their work used to develop these models without permission. And our intuition, there's a general intuition that that's not fair. And there are arguments around that intuition, but we need to learn to anticipate and respect those kind of intuitions, especially as our work becomes more and more accessible to the public. The DALI model is not accessible to the public. The pictures are. Lastly, they've got the blue of the coordinator's hat. Now, what you can do with thinking hats is to very intentionally put them on and off and be willing to wear the black hat for a while and then wear the yellow hat for a while, possibly different members of the team picking up the hat at different times. On the data science side, we've got first principles we have to care a lot about. Data science is really bad when it comes to cargo cult programming. If I want to do something innovative, I have to know how it actually works. Now, once we go to define, we go to the develop stage. And again, this has to be expansive, especially for data science. The big tool here is prototyping. I mean, frankly, what data scientists do really is prototyping. A way of having a data science project fail is picking one tool and trying to push it through a wall. We want to be looking at different tools so we have lots of chances to get something that's good enough. And now there's another idea from design called the business model canvas. And this makes a lot of sense if we don't think about data science as a model, but an app. What are the partnerships? What are the resources? What are the revenue streams? What are the customer relationships? All of these things that surround the application that we're building. For instance, in the company, we'll have we'll need to have UI designers. Let's say we're doing this mid-journey for RPG characters. We'll need to be thinking in terms of the revenue and cost. What kind of activities are going to be around here? Oh, let's think about it. And I'm just thinking about this off my top of my head, so I'm just giving you a bit of time here. Say we'll want people vetting things and looking at things and feeding data in. For instance, mid-journey, I've noticed making RPG characters with it, it has a really hard time with weapons, things like crossbows. Make that better. And lastly, how is this going to improve our customer relationships? We want our customers to be happy about it, want them to love it. Now, once we've figured out what we want to do in the develop stage, we actually have to deliver it. Now, designers, they don't build stuff, but they have to make sure that their stuff can't be built. They'll have scenarios for building it and a scaling plan to actually make a whole bunch of the thing. In data science, I think we tend to be more involved in the uh, delivery stage than in the design fields, but still, it is best practice to, at this point, bring in software developers and data engineers to bring in their expertise for making our code go really, really well. But we have to be able to develop code that can be made fast. This is what we do in the prototyping, is make sure it's going to work in production. Well, that's the double diamond. All the stages, all the ideas on how we can apply this to data science. And there's a lot of things like intuition, thinking in terms of the customer, thinking in terms of user segments and personas that we don't do now, and I think we'll have to start thinking that way. I want to continue exploring the relationship between design and data science in future videos, and I'll be talking to you then. Goodbye.